All right.
Now good.
So about the web server, I tried to debug it. I couldn't find it, and then it did work for you, Rob.
Yeah.
So I tested it on my other device, like the S3 and the other Core 2 I have, and it also worked like flawlessly there. So it is kind of concerning that not all devices have the same, like that it's not very consistent
The core
between
2 is the
devices. So
problem. So core 2 is the problem.
only one of my Core 2s has that problem. So
There's a version 1 or version 1.1.
that's a good one. Wait, uh, I don't know, but both have like a little cable,
Yeah,
and I don't
if
know
you
which one I plugged in. So
look at the back, you can see that.
yeah, I know, but I don't know. I
Oh,
don't
no,
remember
so
which
which
one
one
I
has the
had plugged
trouble?
in. So I can test it. I'll let you know afterwards. So
Okay, then I can
that
also.
might be it. I couldn't find a memory issue with it. I did optimize it because there was a function that I called to render the or to send the response.
Mhm.
And that function used a string. So I had like a buffer. I gave it to the function, and the function put it into a string and then sent the string contents.
Mhm.
It was like copying it to a whole new uh, part of the memory, only to send it. So that I changed the function that it now just sends the buffer.
Directly.
So that would save a lot of memory issues
Mhm.
because the buffer is, I think, 6,000 bytes big to have like a whole page in the response.
Mhm.
We could even optimize that further, but even on the bGeigieCast, it used it did work with that as well.
Mhm.
So if we find problems, we could optimize there. So that's one thing. Uh, but yeah, for now it works. It's optimized, at least with the string part.
Mhm.
And I was also working on the SD card, uh, like kind of the flow that if you don't have an SD card or you take out the SD card and you're in a mode that requires the SD card, you go back to like the SD card error message screen that you can then continue or you can plug back in an SD card. So you don't, um, yeah, I don't know. That was part of the flow that we had like last
Yeah,
year, and we
what's
never
a
really
little bit
implemented it.
strange. Yes,
Yeah. So,
I remember.
and also for if you start it up and you don't have an SD card, you don't have any settings yet, so it's like a fresh start, and you plug in the SD card, you go to the first time startup screen.
Mhm.
So, it is safe-ish. Like it's not recommended, but you can do it. You can take out the SD card, um, and like you can put on new settings and plug it back in, and it will recognize it again. So
Okay.
I don't, I don't know if we should say like, oh yeah, you can just do that. It's probably safer to just turn it off and um, take out the SD card. So,
Yeah, it's much faster too.
well, it's faster to just take it out whenever.
Yeah, I
But
normally
it's
take it
it's
out.
a lot safer if you turn it off first, of course,
Mm. I have not seen
because
any issues. I normally just take them out. So far, so fine. If it's a problem,
it could be in the
if it
middle
gets
of
corrupt,
writing a new line to the journal, stuff like that.
mm,
Uh, it's just safer to turn it off first.
okay, I will try
You
to.
can to plug it in. It's safe, I would
Mhm.
say, because it doesn't do anything until it's recognized and then like a file is made, etc. So I think to plug it in is fine. Uh, yeah,
On the
that's also
big egg,
something we can handle on the SD message screen. When it says there's no SD card, if you then plug it in, it can say, "Oh, now you have an SD card. You can continue, no problem,"
yeah,
or
that would be nice.
continue
Yeah.
automatically.
Yeah. I remember
Yeah.
on the Nano that if it was writing to the SD card, if you take it out, it will get corrupt. the SD card.
Yeah, it used a different library to connect to the SD card, I think.
No, no, no. It just sends serial. It has its own. It's its
Oh,
own
okay.
thing. So it's not done on the device itself. Not on the Arduino. It's done on the the locker itself. They have a separate NPU for that.
Oh, okay. Is that also the case in the core then?
Hmm. It's only on the
Okay,
Nano.
right, okay.
The Nano is you have the Arduino and you have the locker, and they just serial communicating with each other. That's all.
Yeah, I thought maybe they had like a chip built into the board of the core. Could be, I don't know. I haven't read the specifics
Ah,
on
no,
that.
I didn't see that. See that. It could
All
be.
right.
I don't know how they do that internally.
Well, let's just say we recommend turning off the device
Yes,
before taking out the SD card.
I
That'd be the
should make a
safest.
note and put it in the user manual.
Yeah.
And
Um,
from the Wi-Fi setup for the server, I found it very responsive, much better than we had before. It was nice to see the optimization. It worked very well.
which one is that? To
The
set up
Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi optimization that you done. So if you go into the config server, and then if you it directly responds if you change something, and the saving is also fast. So it's a big
Yeah, that's
improvement.
because of the string copying, the whole buffer thingy. I did realize, notice that it is faster now, so
Mhm.
that's nice. I'll also update that in the bGeigieCast because I think
Yeah, it will
it
be
uses the same.
great. That's
Yeah,
easy.
it had a small issue before with the style sheet and the scripts because there's some different requests after you get the page. It will also get the style sheet, which we have like a very small style sheet prepared, and um, sometimes it wouldn't handle that request because it was so slow and it would time out or something. But then I already fixed it on the cast and on the Zen later, or it was copied to the Zen that
Mhm.
it used that different function for the other, like the style sheet and the script or the icon or something. It's a bit silly that I didn't change the other functions. I don't know. It's it's okay.
It's called progress.
Yeah, no problem.
Learning.
All right. Yeah, so that's my work for this last half.
I've been working with other people with the how we call them, the upload from the SD card to the API. And there's something is very strange in the upload, because the SD card sometimes if you upload one time and you, what was it? Upload one time, you delete it, and you re-upload it with a little bit change, it cannot recognize the measurement. There's something in the buffer of the API that keeps it into memory. You think that the file is deleted. If you put it one more time in there, it doesn't work anymore. But that's what I've been working on. But while I was doing that, I was checking the GPS setup, and sometimes I've seen in not only mine devices, also other devices, other people have sent that sometimes there's a random dot about 30 or 40 kilometers, sometimes 50 or even 100 kilometers away. Only one dot. And I think we
Hmm.
should try to implement something that if it goes faster, let's like for example 2,000 kilometers an hour, it's impossible the next one. So
Yeah, I
we
think
should.
I already had like a check for
Oh,
distance
you have that.
built in.
You have that
Uh,
building.
yeah, let me just double check that. It's in the aggregator. Um, yeah, it checks if the last distance. Let's see. No way. No, maybe it was only in the cast, or is it in the API? No. Okay, I have to double check that.
Because yeah, that will be a simple fix for those funny how would you say that, the way of limit dots. I mean, I saw from other people too, and it was they manually changed it, and then they have to re-upload it, and that didn't work anymore. So that's why the issue came up.
Yeah, that's a good one. I can just add a line because in the log aggregator we get the plus distance, so that's distance between the last measurements and the current measurement. If that's bigger than a few kilometers, then it should already be discarded.
Yeah,
Uh,
if you're measuring
y-
every 5 seconds.
yeah, exactly.
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh, Maybe even well, I don't know how fast flying is for 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking. So flying more than 2,000
If
kilometers an hour,
altitude
not
also
many.
higher than,
Oh, that's so too.
I mean, we could.
And higher. That's also a good point. If it's higher, then you can get the difference. But I think if you make it safe, that if it's more than let's say 2,000 kilometers an hour, that's just
Yeah, we don't have
it's the
the
same kilometers.
speed in the data right now, I think. But we can
No, no, but
just
you
say,
can calculate it back in 5 seconds. In 5 seconds, if
yeah,
you
right, yeah.
that is easy to do.
Which would be,
Should be 2,000 divided by 3,600. Should be not more than a kilometer, I think. It's smaller than one.
yeah, kilometers. Yeah, okay. Let's say we do two, but then we also have to, is that valid?
But Jelle, do we pull every 5 seconds the GPS, or is that
Yep,
different? Every five
it's
seconds.
every 5 seconds, yeah.
Okay.
Or no, actually, every second. We only aggregate every 5 seconds.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah,
You can
so
even
it
make it.
could even be less
Yeah.
in that case.
Mhm. And even on the BK880Q, we can get 25 hertz of pulling data, I think. It's much faster.
Yeah, we can configure it. I think the BQ is, I think Michael knows. Uh, uh, you could do multiple times per second, at least 10 or 20. But I don't know. We only need one per second
Yeah, that's true.
actually. So
I think they have standard 1 hertz from those U
hmm.
blocks, and or maybe 4 hertz maximum. Four, I think.
Would it be more accurate if we pull multiple times per second?
I don't know. Maybe Michael has an idea about that,
Or is that
or Louis has an idea.
hmm,
Louis, you still there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm just wondering if you're polling more often than once per second, would it make sense to keep like basically a running average, just like the running average of the counts, right? Instead of 60 buckets, just 5 buckets, and just or 10 buckets, uh, whatever you're doing, and just average out the you know yes, what I'm trying to say here is average out, but if one is way off, then just discard it. Um, I can't remember. reading something about that, like how to average out and get rid of wacky little um, uh, like spurious readings. Could also be that is I hate to say, like spoofing or something like that or jamming, but it could also be that there's some nearby transmitter that is just blasting and not maliciously jamming. It's just you happen to be coming by some powerful radio transmitter or some the sparks from the electric streetcar or something, anything like that, that would cause the the reading to go wonky just for one reading. I know it's unlikely, um, but let me just do a little bit more reading. I just to find that article, um, and just basically, if it's outside the range, just not don't you know just drop that reading entirely, right? As if the DOP
Hmm.
was out of range anyway.
Yeah, that's
Sorry, Michael, I can't. Hang on, let me just open up the chat here.
but you can talk back to Michael, that's fine.
Yeah, for this for the aggregator, the position it uses to log is the valid one from the past 5 seconds, I think, if I remember correctly. Or is it?
Michael, when
It
I
takes.
say aggregate every 5 seconds, is take the readings once a second and then just keep a running average.
No,
And
it takes it. Wait, no. It it does take only one, like the one at the 5th second, I think. No, wait a second. Wait, I have to double check something now. Mm. Yeah, the GPS connector produces data every second, but if it's an invalid location, it keeps the last valid location uh, until the timer runs out for it to no longer be valid. So we have these timers, which are 4.5 seconds. So if we haven't gotten a better GPS fix, or like a later GPS fix after 4.5 seconds, it will invalidate the GPS data. So the GPS updates every second, but if there is like a few seconds no valid data, like maybe you're in a tunnel, it will stick to that last valid point, and then after that it will say, this data that I currently have is no longer valid. It will still say like, this is the last point that I know, but it's not valid right now because it's 4.5 seconds ago. So for the aggregator, because it's every 5 seconds, it's basically like the past 5 seconds. And if it's still valid, it will take that value that was last valid in that 5 seconds. And for the next log line, it will say, well, it's no longer valid because it was now more than 5 seconds ago that we had a valid reading. So that's the logic behind the GPS logging. So it
so
does take for us the of those 5 GPS locations that we get, it takes the last valid location for the log file.
So the GPS connector gets the PVT, the precision velocity and time packet, once a second.
Yeah.
So if we want to do some averaging or some knocking out of wildcards, that would be the place to do it.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, because then it can like calculate based on the data that it had. Say like, well, this one the PVT says it's valid, but it's like 10 kilometers away, so it
Right.
doesn't really look valid.
Yeah.
I guess
And
something like that would work.
so yeah, so basically do as
That's
much
good.
filtering in the GPS connector such that when the aggregator comes along and asks for some information, the confidence is there that it's already been cleaned up. The alternative, and I don't know if Michael agrees or not, is to do some filtering, like add a little bit of extra functionality to the little GPS library. But that's, I don't know. It's so application specific. I still think it should be done in the GPS connector.
Michael asks, is it possible that you are grabbing GPS data in the middle of GPS data being updated? No, that's not possible. The GPS maybe arrives at the device at some point, but the update in the library only happens in the same thread as it processing and then copying it to the data, and that the GPS connector provides then that data, which is the GPS data in our library, to the rest of the device. So a log aggregator would never get data directly from the library, only from the GPS connector provided data. And yeah, I'm not sure if we should filter in the GPS connector. I mean, we could also, like, there's also an argument for saying that those workers provide like basically the raw values in a better representation for our system to use. And then, for example, on screen, you could say we just want to see like what the GPS gives us. So then you don't really want to filter it or edit it or take averages. And then in the log aggregator, it can say, well, now give me this value, but we had this value, so now it's like not valid for logging, something like that. There's an argument for that. So
The the interface between the GPS and the microcontroller is serial only, and we visited that a little while ago. That there's I2C pins on the Baytan modules, but they're strictly for the accelerometer. So we're kind of stuck with only serial interface. The I'm not too sure how well, wait a second. The idea of that the packet got cut in or got mangled somehow should not I don't think that happens because there is a checksum in each
yeah,
packet
I
set
don't
by
think it's a communication with the
yeah
module issue. It's more of a GPS, like
yeah
I think so too.
flying out.
Maybe another a way of looking at it is keep a running average of the let's say the last 5 or last 10 or whatever, however many, but only use that average. Don't report the average to the aggregator, but use that average as a sanity check for the reading that is going to be handed to the aggregator. So that way, if it's wildly out of bounds, then right, you know that the car can't go faster, or even if you're on an aircraft, you can kind of estimate how fast an aircraft goes at 35,000 feet or whatever.
Yeah.
And although I'm not sure it would work in an aircraft because it's a big metal can. So anyway, that's kind of a
Oh, it works. It
what?
works in airplanes.
Oh yeah, it works. Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no problem.
Okay. But you see the idea is that is uh, if the current reading that's about to be reported to the aggregator is wildly out of the trend, then invalidated as if you hadn't seen something for the last 4.5 seconds. That timeout timer. So you're not returning an estimate or an average. You're just using it as a comparison. And then when you're actually reporting, you're reporting the real thing.
Yeah, that sounds totally reasonable. Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh,
Michael had a question. I think and delta distance and delta time between 2 points.
Yeah, sure.
That will do
Simpler is
it.
good.
yeah, well, we use the distance in the aggregator to calculate, to add on to the distance, like the total distance driven, kind of value that we use in places, like the drive mode. You can see how much kilometers you have driven. But yeah, we can use the same function for comparison between given GPS values. It's basically the same implementation as in the log aggregator. We could move it that we could move that function to the GPS connector.
We went to the GPS connector, and then the GPS connector also reports the distance traveled that you need for that screen.
Yeah, maybe that wouldn't be well. The reason why I put it in the log aggregator at first was because if you get the distance every second, like I don't know, the GPS can be like wiggling a bit, and if you get it every 5 seconds, you get a bit better distance or something. I don't know. Maybe I was wrong with that. I think every second might be fine
Maybe it just
as
makes
long as you're driving.
it makes the division a little bit more precise because now you're dividing by 5 as opposed. I don't know. It's just
Yeah, I saw
with division the percentage is determined a lot by the denominator. Oh yeah, Michael,
Yeah.
yes. PVT accuracy field shows during these events.
Yeah, I'm also interested in that.
Yeah, I can try to find them and then I can share them so you can see, Michael. So I
What the
can send
DOP
to you.
was. But are they in the log file,
Yeah, they are in
the
the
invalid
log file.
points?
Yeah, in the even in the drive files, I've seen them.
Okay, and those have like a DOP of.
Oh, I didn't check the DOP yet. So,
Oh, okay, that might be useful.
yeah,
Okay.
I will check that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're at about 3 minutes left. So
Oh,
Other things, a quick thing, I renamed the version to 3.56. Then we have a little bit different, then we know that it's a unified and there are other changes to keep track.
yeah, sounds good. We can also merge it, I guess, to the development branch that we work on.
Maybe I didn't
is that
push it,
for
but I thought I did.
is that for hardware, Rob?
That is for software,
Okay.
because I updated about 10 cents and they were all showing. I want to know which one were updated or not, so I put the new number in there. And it's so nice. They work on the core and the core 2 and the core S3. So nice. Just switch it and then it compiles again. Amazing good.
Do you have good performance on the Core Basic?
They work fine. I mean, I didn't see any difference.
Well,
Only
I had an issue on one of my Core Basics, so I don't
oh,
know what I'm doing with my cores. Maybe it's just me.
okay, but
I don't know.
I have a few, the gray one and the black ones, and they all seem to work. I quickly checked them and no issues yet.
Yeah, if we can do like some kind of test cycle before we send out cores or like Zens to people, like start it up, like run the web server, run like the satellite view, see if you can lock on satellites, like some
Yeah,
small
I normally
cycle
do
that can
them.
just have a checklist. Okay.
Yeah, no, I normally go through them and let them stay on for 72 hours just to be sure
Yeah,
that
right.
nothing burns out or.
But now we can also go to the web server, refresh 5 times,
Yes, that's
see if there's an issue.
okay. Anyway, we have a minute left. There are other things we have to talk about, or I think
But I'm good.
Have a good week, everyone.
yeah, that's true.
Yes. All right.
I will.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you to Michael and Jelle and Louis.
Bye bye.